Hello, I'm Edgar Miranda. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I stumbled upon a movie. Who knows what is it that grabbed my attention, but I ended up watching it till the end. And then right after, its 2 sequels. It is unclear to me where my parents were, or why they let me watch 6 hours of TV, but fortunately they did, because I have never closed the door that opened that day. And even though I can quote most of these movies now, there is just one thing I remember about watching them that first time. An orange ship flying through the clouds near a city in the sky. Star Wars has always been part of my life, as a source of tremendous joy and incredible frustration. In high school, I watched them for the first time on the big screen. I remember being excited for the waiting in line for Star Wars experience before watching episode 1, because I was very young. When I was in college, there was no YouTube, so I followed the behind the scenes leading up to episode 2 on the Star Wars website before watching the movie. And I made all of my friends sit through a marathon before watching episode 3 at midnight, sitting on the stairs in an overbooked theater. And then it ended. Forever.
What if someone else beside you came to you and said, I want to make episode 7? Could you see that happening?
No.
No, absolutely, positively, you're really closing the door without any wiggle room whatsoever.
Right. There is no episode 7.
Today, I am proud to announce the Walt Disney Company is acquiring Lucasfilm, the global entertainment company founded by George Lucas and the home of the legendary Star Wars franchise. Fans can expect a new feature film, Star Wars Episode 7, in theaters worldwide in 2015.
What? So, a few years later, I took my wife to see episode 7. Then, when my oldest son was less than a month old, my wife agreed to let me go watch Rogue One. For episode 8 and Solo, I skipped work to watch them with my brother on matinee. And finally, on the 19th of December 2019, keeping with tradition, I met my brother outside the theater and went in to see the final episode of the Skywalker saga. Supposedly. Did I like it? Well, here we are. I'll get to that part of the story eventually. For now, I want to share my thoughts about the first movie in this trilogy and what I feel about it now that we have the complete story.
Who are you?
This question defines most of this trilogy. In the following movies, it becomes a more philosophical question. What am I in all of this? Where do I stand? And who do I fight for? But in this movie, it's literally, who are you people? And not because they are new characters, but because of the hints of them being more than what we think. We're everywhere, from trailers to TV spots. There were even leaked pictures of evil-looking Luke Skywalker, possibly being Snoke or even Kylo Ren to some people. It was fun to play the speculation game back then, and I was convinced that Kylo Ren was the son of Han and Leia, and so was Rey. So they were also twins, like Luke and Leia, separated for protection. One raised properly, the other one sent to the hellhole. I saw the signs. Or maybe Rey was the lost daughter of Luke? Either way, a Skywalker. I was mostly wrong, but that's okay. I prefer movies to surprise me and subvert my expectations. Or maybe I don't prefer that. Before we begin, let's address the elephant in the room. This movie borrows a lot from A New Hope.
As far away from here as you can.
Okay, so you get the idea. Let's try to get past that. The movie starts and it pushes hard for me to ask who Kylo Ren is.
Something far worse has happened to you. I know where you come from. Before you called yourself Kylo Ren. First Order rose from the dark side. You did not. You cannot deny the truth. That is your family.
Ah, numbers! So, if you were expecting a big reveal in the next movie...
No. I am your father.
You won't get there with this right up front.
I know where you come from. Before you called yourself Kylo Ren. You cannot deny the truth. That is your family.
Yeah, not the same. That's why I like that they don't try it, and that we don't have to wait much to get to know who he is.
The droid we seek is aboard the Millennium Falcon. In the hands of your father,
Chewie?
Han Solo.
Oh.
Even you, Master of the Knights of Ren.
Meh. Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, is my favorite character in the trilogy. His portrayal is intense and raw. As a character, he is conflicted and flawed. And his family ties make me immediately emotionally invested in his arc. Whether he stays in the dark or goes to the light, one thing is certain. He has the potential to be much more than just a Vader copycat. Then we meet our hero, Luke Skywalker. Like his father before him, he slips away on Tatooine.
What you brought me today is worth 1/4 portion.
All joking aside, I like that Rey is the opposite of Kylo Ren. Left behind, no parents, all alone, harsh upbringing, has every reason to turn to the dark side and doesn't. She seems pure and kind-hearted. I like that, but that doesn't mean I like everything she does. In fact, the most frustration I've felt with this trilogy comes from situations involving her. But despite all of that, she is still an abandoned child, probably in denial.
Classified, really? Me too. Big secret.
No secret really, at least not one she knows about.
I know all about waiting. For my family.
Yes, you're a mystery. Wink, wink.
That Finn, huh? Finn, I'm gonna call you Finn, is that alright? Finn. Yeah! Finn, I like that!
If there was a clear distinction before this movie between a clone trooper and a stormtrooper, I had no idea. Now I know, but after the prequels I just assumed all of the stormtroopers were the clones of Jango Fett, but had their name changed when the Empire rose. So when I saw Finn, I thought that he was part of a new army with a different clone that had more skills. And I found the idea very interesting, of him being one of the faces of the rebellion when there are millions, the resistance, when there are millions out there with his face, being literally the majority of the Empire. I mean the First Order. I'm sorry, what's the difference? Maybe that's why Han knew he was lying, because he had probably fought these troopers and at one point seen their face.
You got another problem. Women always figure out the truth. Always.
And why this guy was so upset.
Raider!
And in a future movie, an army of Finns would fight an army of stormtroopers. But of course, none of this happened. It was all in my head. They even alluded to this in the movie.
Perhaps Leader Snoke should consider using a clone army.
Oh well. Then I thought of his first encounter with Leia. She has spent all of her life fighting the dark side, and the cost has been very high. Her real parents, her adoptive parents, the planet where she grew up, the lives of countless members of the Rebel Alliance and the Resistance, her brother, and her son. And she is still no closer to winning than where she was at the beginning of the original trilogy. This would push someone over the edge.
That's right.
So when they meet, it shocked me that she didn't accuse him of being a spy for the First Order and send him to a cell. I mean, as far as we know, except for a few clone troopers, there has never been a stormtrooper go rogue. so she must have been very suspicious. Then he would have to prove his word to Leia, maybe by putting himself in harm's way to protect her or someone close to her during an attack from the First Order, to then earn her respect. But of course, none of this happened either. We got this instead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Finn. He needs to talk to you.
And I need to talk to him. That was incredibly brave what you did. Renouncing the First Order, saving this man's life.
Thank you, man, but a friend of mine was taken prisoner.
Nya. At the end, that's fine. But his arc is so vanilla flavored and straightforward that I cannot help but wonder what could have been. The fact that he was a stormtrooper is irrelevant, except for him knowing this.
Their masks filter out smoke, not toxins.
And this.
It uses the power of the sun. There is one. Precinct 47. Here.
But then again, if Leia gets intel on when the weapon is charging, they could get this info from somewhere else. He has no problem killing the people he grew up with, some who could possibly be feeling as he felt when he left. Why not make him a spy for the First Order, trying to infiltrate the Resistance to kill Leia? That would have been different. Then, by his friendship with Rey and Poe, he comes to understand what the Resistance is really about and decides to join them. This is not too far away from where Finn ends up at the end of this movie, but for his arc, more meat on the bone. Or maybe, instead of making him so innocent,
no prior signs of non-conformity.
This was his first offense.
I'm a stormtrooper. Like all of them, I was taken from a family I'll never know. On my first battle, I made a choice. I wasn't gonna kill for them, so I ran.
Have him be a real, battle-tested, veteran stormtrooper. All they did was train me to kill rebels come. And I did. But nothing is as it seems. And when my friend died for nothing, I knew I couldn't be part of it anymore. But, with that backstory, we would have to lose all of the comedy surrounding Finn. And I'm not willing to sacrifice that. So I don't know what I want. Then I thought, at least there was no character like Finn in the original movies. A rebel trooper. But that is only the surface. He wants nothing to do with the First Order, but knows better than to fight them.
There is no fight against the First Order. Not one we can win.
What good's your reward if you ain't around to use it? Besides, attacking that battle station ain't my idea of courage. It's more like suicide.
Talks his way out of situations.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Or at least he tries.
Yes, I do. Every time.
Sees no point in the rebellion and wants to leave and for you to go with him.
Rey, come with me.
Don't go.
Why don't you come with us? Pretty good in a fight. Could use you.
Come on. Why don't you take a look around?
Take care of yourself.
May the Force be with you.
First he leaves, then he comes back.
We came back for you.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Okay, this is a stretch. I'm not saying that he is a stand-in for Han Solo, but they share similar characteristics and story beats. That's why I think their dynamic is great.
That's not how the Force works.
Ultimately, despite all of my complaints, I like Finn in the movie. Why? Charisma.
You've gone off.
David Beckham!
You've gone off. You've gone off.
You have met your match.
And speaking of Han Solo, apparently Poe was gonna be just like him. Later we find out that he was a smuggler, but besides that, I've never seen much correlation. Poe is 100% a man of the Resistance. Han, by the end of the original trilogy, was kind of into the rebellion. They are both pilots, yes, but so what? Isn't most people in Star Wars a pilot?
This is where the fun begins.
Don't tell me it's the leather jacket.
Same jacket.
No, new jacket.
What is it with this leather jacket? Before this movie, when did Han Solo ever wear a leather jacket? Not here. Not here. Not he. What is that? This one doesn't count. Maybe because they are both smart mouths?
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
No reward is worth this.
I still don't see it. Supposedly, Poe was gonna die early in the movie. And you can tell. Unfortunately, he's not given much to do until the very end. And he does manage to blow up Starkiller Base, but who got tense watching this scene? I mean, who doubted this was going to happen? During all of this, my attention was elsewhere. Also, I have a bad habit of reading too much into trailers.
The dark side. A Jedi.
Maybe he was unlucky for Kylo Ren and this was coercion or discipline. None of that. Maybe in another life when we are all cats. But he's a cool new character.
We're gonna do this.
And his relationship with Finn is great.
That's one hell of a pilot!
Why is Phasma in this movie? Toys! If you bought the action figure before watching the movie, my condolences. At least you got a shiny object. She has two things going on for her. One, her armor looks good, and two, she's played by Gwendolyn Christie during the height of Game of Thrones. Hawks had so much potential.
All remaining systems will bow to the First Order!
If they had just made him escalate through the movies, we could have had a great menacing antagonist by the end. Snoke. When Leia says that it was Snoke who turned Ben to the dark side and Han knows what she means, it sounds like he was somehow close to Ben. Maybe also training with Luke or alongside Luke and got to Ben? Or maybe he was Luke? How he turned Ben Solo is never fully explained in the movies. We only find out later from a single line that Snoke was probably a voice in Ben's head, but I don't think that's enough to turn him to the dark side and kill everybody. Not even with his Uncle Luke trying to kill him. He still had his parents. And on that note, Han, Leia, and Ben are the backbone that holds this trilogy together. The 3-movie arc involving these characters somehow survives and adapts to the changes in writers and directors. They are the highest highs and make it possible to withstand the lowest lows. Han Solo is one of my favorite characters, and here he is what connects Rey and Kylo Ren. For Rey, he is a way out, giving enough time a reason to leave Jakku, a father figure, a new family. For Ren, a disappointment. Unfortunately, we never get to know why, but it is implied that he wasn't always around. When we meet Han and Leia in this movie, we find out that they have been separated for a while, probably due to the loss of their son.
You think I want to forget him? I want him back.
There's nothing more we could have done. There's too much Vader in him.
So it is known, at least to Han, that Darth Vader was Anakin Skywalker, the father of Leia and grandfather to Ben. I will one day read this book. But my favorite line of them together is when Leia answers this question.
If Luke couldn't reach him, how could I?
Luke is a Jedi. You're his father.
Stories between fathers and sons have a special place in my heart. And this one is really tragic. I once read that if you were disappointed with the reveal of Rey's parents in The Last Jedi, it was because you created this illusion yourself that she was related to someone. That she was more. There were no hints in the movie. You were just projecting what you wanted to see. Who are you, Rey?
Classified, really. Me too. Big secret.
Is it? Kylo Ren seems to know about you.
The two were accompanied by a girl.
What girl?
Yeah, what girl? Have you heard something about a girl in particular?
Who's the girl?
I have lived long enough to see the same eyes in different people. The same eyes in different people. The same eyes in different people. I see your eyes. I know your eyes.
The girl I've heard so much about.
Have you? Why does a Skywalker lightsaber call to Rey? Is she a Skywalker? No? She hears Darth Vader, then sees Luke, then Kylo Ren. 3 Skywalkers and then herself. Is there a correlation here?
That lightsaber was Luke's and his father's before him, and now it calls to you.
What more do you want?
I see my colleague, Daisy.
One of the more interesting aspects of Kylo Ren is that unlike his grandfather, who was a seasoned warrior by the time he became the almost always calm and collected Darth Vader, Ben Solo is a brat. According to Snoke, he hasn't even finished his training. He throws tantrums when things don't go his way. He deflects guilt like a kid. And he idolizes something that his grandfather renounced at the end. Fun fact, in the book by Alan Dean Foster, Snoke thinks back on the Empire's downfall and addresses if Vader's turn was known or not. Kylo Ren. I watched the Galactic Empire rise and then fall. The gullible prattle on about the triumph of truth and justice, of individualism and free will, as if such things were solid and real instead of simple subjective judgments. The historians have it all wrong. It was neither poor strategy nor arrogance that brought down the Empire. You know too well what did. Ren nodded once. Sentiment. Yes. Such a simple thing. Such a foolish error of judgment. A momentary lapse in an otherwise exemplary life. Had Lord Vader not succumbed to emotion at the crucial moment, had the father killed the son, the Empire would have prevailed, and there would be no threat of Skywalker's return today. I am immune to the light, Ren assured him confidently. By the grace of your training, I will not be seduced. It's weird to think about it now, but before this scene, we didn't know that Rey was force sensitive. Finn was a red herring. I like how when she calls Ren a creature in a mask and he removes it, she's so surprised that the monster is a young man with a mild-mannered face. And remember I said he was a brat?
You know I can take whatever I want.
Jeez.
I know you've seen the map, and now you'll give it to me.
Something else? Rey has interesting dreams.
You imagine an ocean. I see it. I see the island.
I also like knowing where the story of these two end up, that it was here that she used the Force for the first time. From the first time I watched this movie, I really liked Rey. And I didn't agree with the complaints about her being so powerful and perfect and how everything turns out great for her. With one exception.
You will remove these restraints and leave this cell with the door open.
When we meet her, she is living a terrible life. She is a scavenger, does a lot of work, gets little reward, lives inside a trashed AT-AT in the middle of the desert. She was abandoned in this place, and everybody she meets tells her it's a junkyard.
Jakku? A junkyard? Thank you, junkyard.
In fact, life is so bad that anything else is more exciting.
I've never met a resistance fighter before. BB-8 says he's on a secret mission. He has to get back to your base. Luke Skywalker.
Hey! We need a pilot!
We've got one!
You!
And while she can pilot ships, it is by the skin of her teeth and the help of Finn that they escape a few TIE fighters.
I can do this.
But I never thought watching the movie that she was the best pilot in the galaxy or anything. But she isn't bad either. And as far as this maneuver goes, I don't think it's insane that she can pull it off. I mean, we do know that she has been scavenging for parts inside these ships most of her life, and it's not quite the run on the second Death Star, but really mostly a straight line and a right. Okay, this one is maybe too much. Now, her being a mechanic, it's also not a stretch from collecting parts and repairing them. She also seems to have a history with the Falcon.
Who had it? Duquesne?
I stole it from Uncle Plot. He stole it from the Irving boys who stole it from Duquesne.
She was probably there during the modifications as work for Uncle Plot.
Electrical overload.
I can fix that.
Of course you can. But joking aside, Han didn't have the Falcon for a while and she knew what to look for. Or maybe she's just a natural pilot.
I'm a pilot, you know, all my life.
And very good at fixing things.
I'm good at fixing things. Always was.
You know, cause she's a Skywalker. No? It's not like she doesn't make any mistakes. And it's not until the Force is shown to awaken within her that she starts to use it. And that brings me to the exception I mentioned before.
You will remove these restraints and leave this cell with the door open.
This is my least favorite scene in the movie. How does she know this is a thing to try?
You don't need to see his identification.
I mean, we know this is possible, but she doesn't.
These aren't the droids we're looking for. Move along.
Emotional and raw uses of the Force are understandable. But this is such a relaxed reaction coming from an untrained individual, it just makes no sense. And if the movie expects me to believe that she just stumbled upon this trick while testing out her abilities in her head,
I will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open.
No. This is what I felt a few years ago. In hindsight, I can see how this is nitpicking. However, this scene took me and will forever take me out of the movie. Why would she know this is a thing to try?
You will remove these restraints and leave this cell with the door open.
If he had tried to provoke her,
I'll tighten those restraints, scavenger scum.
And out of rage, she commanded him to release her, and to her surprise, he complied. Maybe I would have felt different. But you don't want to repeat yourself. This scene, at least how it played out, does not need to be in the movie. It is not a step up from her previous encounter with Ren, nor does it build up to their encounter in the forest. It is only there to not make sense and upset me.
You will remove these restraints and leave this cell with the door open.
And it compounds with other scenes where Rey shows some skills to cast her in a light that I don't think she deserves.
What are you doing?
Checking your blood for infections. Obi-Wan, I need an analysis of this blood sample I'm sending you. I need a midichlorian count.
The reading is off the chart.
Even Master Yoda doesn't have a midichlorian count that high.
No Jedi has.
Just like Anakin and Luke, she is inherently powerful. And I have no problem with that. It is how you use that power where you can run into problems. But this is why Rey being a Kenobi never made sense. Obi-Wan was an accomplished Jedi who achieved the rank of Master on the Council by study, training, and battle.
Hello there.
Her being so powerful by default can only mean that she is related to the Skywalkers, and nobody else. I am ignoring the expanded universe, I am only talking about the movies.
Darth Vader will become more powerful than either of us.
Let me tell you a story. A smuggler from Corellia and a princess of Alderaan. A scoundrel and a politician. Unlikely allies. Rebels. Brought together in conflict, found each other despite terrible odds, and together helped bring down an empire. The Empire. They shared many adventures across the stars. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. The last of which ended with the following words:
If you see our son, bring him home.
Han Solo.
They're in trouble. We can't leave. My friend's got a bag full of explosives. Let's use them.
When he was about to leave, Han saw a towering dark figure. And because of the unspoken promise he made, he leaves cover and calls out the name of his son for the last time.
Ben! You think I want to forget him? I want him back.
Ben says that he has been waiting for this moment for a long time.
There's too much Vader in him.
Despite this, Han moves closer and demands his son to take off his mask. For the first time, Han saw the face of his son as a grown man. You can see this reaction in the movie. They haven't seen each other in years, probably since Leia sent him to train with Luke.
That's when I lost you both.
Then he calls Ben Solo
weak and foolish like his father.
And I really wish we knew more about their relationship and why he feels so disappointed by Han, if by his own account, they are similar. Han keeps approaching his son. He's past the line of no return.
It was Snoke. He seduced our son to the dark side.
And with the faintest of hopes, we hear a crack in Ben's armor.
It's too late.
It is not. He says that he's being torn apart, that he wants to be free of this pain.
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
We can still save him. Me. You.
When he asks for help, I am also being torn apart. My mind tells me he hasn't earned it. Him turning good now makes no sense. So I realize that there is only one way out of this bridge. But my heart wants Ben aboard the Millennium Falcon, leaving with Han to reunite with Leia. But my heart knows that my mind is right, so it stays silent. When they both clutch the red lightsaber, my hand moves to the left side of my chest, without me realizing it. Then the sun is gone. All I see is a red face in the darkness, and deep down, I'm begging. Don't do it. Please, don't do it. Please. My hand presses my chest. And then I hear the blade igniting, and I close my eyes. I am Finn, horror-struck. I am Chewie screaming. I am Rey yelling no. And then I hear Kylo Ren say,
"Thank you."
And then I died. The end. What goes through your head when you're about to die? Maybe you wonder what were your last words to your princess, or if you were able to make up for all of your mistakes. If everything you did with your life and the decisions you took were enough. If Chewie will be okay. And maybe at the end, you hope that your sacrifice can one day bring your son home, like Leia wanted. And then he's gone.
We're not done yet.
Stunned by his own action, Kylo Ren fell to his knees. Following through on the act ought to have made him stronger, a part of him believed. Instead, he found himself weakened. He did not hear the roar of the enraged Wookiee above, but he did feel the sting of the shot from the bowcaster as it slammed into his side, knocking him back on the walkway.
It's just us now. Han Solo can't save you.
Even hurt, he easily dispatches Rey. Also, these tantrums are character flaws that make him very interesting.
Traitor!
And ironically,
Liar!
more similar to his grandfather than he knows. Then, Finn ignites the lightsaber, and when Kylo Ren says that the weapon is his, in his coolest moment in the movie, he responds,
Come and get them! Come get it!
I remember a lot of complaints about Finn holding his own against Ren. He didn't really. The longer the contest continued, the stronger Ren seemed to become. It was as if he was enjoying the challenge, feeding upon it. At least, it appeared so until Finn parried, swung, and unexpectedly stabbed, the tip of his lightsaber beam grazing Ren's arm. That made it more than a challenge. Taking a step back, Ren reconsidered his opponent. When he closed the distance between them anew, it was with a purpose that had been previously lacking. Expecting an execution, he had found a contest. Now he had been touched. It was time for play to end. Then he tries to reach the Skywalker lightsaber. But another Skywalker gets it. No? Oh yeah. I also remember a lot of complaints about Rey holding her own against Ren. She didn't really. At least not at first. Even wounded and distressed, Rey is no match for him. Early on, we see that her weapon of choice is a staff. And she seems proficient using it, so surely there must be some skill overlap when using a lightsaber. At least to a certain extent. But looking closer at the fight, you see that she just tries to hit him whatever way she can, just wailing it, while Kylo Ren easily deflects and pushes her back, playing with her until she has nowhere to run.
You need a teacher! I could show you the ways of the Force!
Turns out that originally this scene didn't have this moment. This is incredible, as this is this movie's Luke turning off his targeting computer when Obi-Wan told him to use the Force. And it almost wasn't there.
I am no Jedi, but I know the Force. It moves through and surrounds every living thing. Close your eyes. Feel it. The light. It's always been there. It will guide you.
This is a very powerful moment and my favorite scene in the movie. I'm still stunned from what just happened. I was emotionally invested in the vindication of who I consider the most interesting character, and now he seems irredeemable. And while I'm feeling this, the movie manages to take me all the way across time and space to Dagobah. This is movie magic, and why I love movies. Rey didn't hold her own against Ren, at least not until she used the Force. Is it not by using the Force that you could achieve what seems impossible?
Great shot, kid! That was 1 in a million!
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Then why is it hard to accept that by using the Force Rey was able to defeat Ren? It is not like she became a master swordsman with perfect technique. I mean, if by using the Force she was able to do this. Yes, I would have also complained, but that is not what we got. Block, wham, 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 wham! Block, wham, 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 wham! She found strength through the Force and defeated her enemy. That is all fine by me.
Wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. I forgot. There is one more thing.
One downward cut she saw. One quick final strike and she could kill him. The landing lights of a shuttle appeared in the distance, coming over the trees in her direction. She had to make a decision. Now.
Kill him,
a voice inside her head said. It was amorphous, unidentifiable, raw, pure vengeful emotion. So easy, she told herself. So quick. She recoiled from it. From the dark side. Who could this be? Snoke? Or someone else?
We're in the endgame now.
Another happy landing.
Wait, what? What about Chewie? Our heart is broken. And you're not gonna address it? Instead you're giving us this? Really? She goes to hug Rey? But Leia doesn't know Rey. And Rey hugs her back? But they don't know each other. Right? Right? Unless she is secretly her mom? Or her aunt? No? At least it's gonna be a short hug? Chewie is right there. Oh well, at least we're gonna have a happy ending to a beautiful love story.
So you're with the Resistance?
Yes, I am. With the Resistance, yeah.
I've never met a Resistance fighter before.
Finn, what's yours?
I'm right.
You can fly anywhere. Why go back? Got a boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?
None of your business, that's why. Finn,
Come with me.
what about BB-8?
I can't.
You can't just go. I won't let you.
So I ran right into you. You looked at me like no one ever had. Rey, come with me.
Don't go.
Take care of yourself, please. I'm just here to get Rey.
People are counting on us.
Finn, what are you doing here?
We came back for you.
Thank you.
Escape now. Hug later.
Ah, young love. So beautiful.
We'll see each other again. I believe that.
Oh, shh, shh, silence. We're going to witness a lover's kiss. Oh?
Thank you, my friend.
Friend? Oh no. Ouch. Wait. Come back. Come back. Rest in peace, Finn and Rey. Nobody will ever mention you again. Then Rey goes looking for Luke with Chewie and R2-D2 aboard the Millennium Falcon. And her dreams come true.
You imagine an ocean. I see it. I see the island.
And finally. Oh yeah. When we left the theater that night, my wife told me how much she liked the movie. I told her that even though I also liked it, it bothered me how much it borrowed from A New Hope. She's not a Star Wars fan, but she had seen the other movies before, so when I proceeded to list the similarities, we laughed. The movie was great, but it was mainly, not exactly, but mainly, the same old great movie. Disney tricked us into loving Star Wars. Again. And the trick? Well, it worked.
Where's the Italian?
The movie did become an event that brought the audience's attention back to Star Wars, and it set the stage for movies with new and different adventures.
I got a bad feeling about this.
And the most important thing to me is that it succeeded in presenting characters whose journeys I want to follow. And a few really emotional moments.
And in conclusion, Your Honor,
Going back to December 2015, these were my expectations for the next movie. Don't go copy the plot of The Empire Strikes Back. Take the story in a bold new direction.
I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this.
I mean, if you try to cut Rey's hand... Jesus. You set the trail of breadcrumbs. Now show us where it leads.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
I have a very bad feeling about this.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
I really want to see how Ryder can redeem Kylo Ren, and if Leia still wants him back.
I got a really good feeling about this.
I want to know more about Rey, her family, and why she is so strong with the Force. No? I want Finn's story to move forward and for him to be fully a part of the Resistance.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I want to see if Poe is more than one hell of a pilot.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I don't sense anything.
And I really want to love your movie.
It's time for the Jedi to end.
oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
But more than anything, I want to go with Luke on one final adventure. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. And if you want to further support the channel, please check my Patreon page. See you next time.
Who are you?